It is 5 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and kick it off and then let Lisa take over. If you weren't here at the very beginning, send us a comment so we can see who all is joining us. That's always fun. But we are here in support of Tree Fund, part of the Rolling in Place campaign. We were set to be riding in Colorado for Tour de Trees this week. Lisa would have been riding her bike out there, 321 miles, and now she's rolling in place instead. Socially distanced, keeping everybody safe this year, and pivoting in this new way that has really drawn a lot of support. So we reached overnight last night over $100,000 for this campaign so far, and it's going through November 15th. So there's still a lot of time to give support. This week we're trying to have a ton of fun with it because we would have been rolling together, and it's sad to be apart. And Lisa has offered to try to bring us back together a little bit here tonight with a little bit of yoga. So if you enjoy this, please go to tourdetrees.org. You can use the search function to find Lisa's page, check out our leaderboard, find some of your other favorite riders, or join the campaign yourself. We are continuing to grow. We're really excited through November 15th. There's a lot of time, and there are going to be a lot of more fun activities like this. Maybe Lisa will join us again. Who knows? So send lots of good comments to try to get her back.
We'll see. Maybe if we reach 321, I'll sign up.
Ooh, I love that.
Add in the YouTube watchers too.
Okay, I think that we've got that challenge accepted. Let's go, guys. Come on, make it happen. Share with your friends. Get them in here. All right. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Lisa, and I will let you take it away. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you all for being here. You know, Tree Fund has been really special to me. I got involved a number of years ago from a colleague who had ridden back in, I think it was like 2012, and just had a phenomenal experience and knew it was an organization that I wanted to get involved with. So been involved now personally for the last 3 years, and really happy to be an ambassador for the Tree Fund and supporting the work that I do with OneTreeLove to give back to the Tree Fund so we can continue to do really great work with research and education for trees. So we are going to be tree inspired. We're also going to be obviously rolling in place. And so I would have been in Colorado with some of you that are watching to ride my bike. So instead, we are going to think about how we can still be together in this way. And so if we think about a wheel, we think about all that it takes for it to come together. So we've got many components here. So we've got the center of the wheel, we have our spokes, we have our rim, we have our tire. This is not a tubeless tire, so there's a tube in here. And so I want you to think about what it takes to bring together this tire. And so just take a moment to think about that from the center ring all the way out to the outer edges. And so this is much like us, right? We've got many different layers to us. We've got our core, our center of ourselves. We've got our outermost reaches, the things that people see and experience. And we've got many bits of us in between. And so, you know, our yoga practice is really about helping us bring together all of that. The word yoga means to yoke or to unite. And so this practice is really about uniting us with our mind, our body, our physical, our emotional, our energetic, our spiritual aspects of ourselves. And so we're going to go through kind of a course here of exploring a few different practices within the idea of yoga. Yoga obviously has many different spokes, many different aspects, or some can say many different limbs, like limbs of a tree, or different aspects of a tree that kind of come together and make us kind of in this perspective of whole and really grounded and focused. So the first thing that I invite you to do is find any way to sit comfortably. So this could be in a chair, this could be on the ground, perhaps you're on a cushion or pillow. I am, just so happens to be, yes, advice from a tree. You'll see you're in my living room, and I am obviously a very big tree fanatic. My last name is a tree, not here in the US and Indonesia, Malaysia. So I definitely love trees. So grab whatever you've got. Maybe there's a tree prop around that you want to have with you in this time as we begin to think about trees and their union as a whole being, grounded, present, rooted, and yet lifted, strong and present, expanding outwards. So as you sit some way that's comfortable, I invite you, if it's comfortable to you, to then close your eyes or let your gaze be down. And maybe if you've chosen an item in your home that is a tree, or perhaps you're outside and you want to look at a tree, I'm just going to invite us for a few minutes here to get centered, to get present in our true tree experience here. And so if you can call to mind a tree that maybe you have seen in your lifetime, maybe there's a particular tree that you have had some kind of connection with, some kind of union with. Maybe this is a tree from your childhood. Maybe it's one that you have looked at from day to day, season to season, year to year. Perhaps it's a tree that you climbed or built a tree fort in. Maybe it's a tree that you have planted. Maybe it's a tree that you've cared for. And so as you call to mind that tree, see if you can imagine that it's right in front of you. Notice what qualities of this tree that really stand out to you. And then noticing what it is that you see about this tree. And then I invite you to begin to think about what is unseen from the eye. Some of you know the state arborist in Ohio, Alan Seward. And one of the things that I really took away from a course with him was how we feel trees far more than we see them. We can feel their shade. We can feel the magic from them. We feel their energy. So allowing yourself to think about what you can feel from that tree, what is unseen to the eye. And then I invite you to begin to think about that tree right where the tree touches the earth. For those that aren't familiar, we call that the root flare, where right at the base of the tree, where it touches the earth, it flares out. And so from that root flare down to the tips of its roots, imagine that tree, he or she flaring out beneath the ground, spreading those roots deep, maybe wide. And what is that tree going for? What is that tree seeking beneath the earth? And you can imagine that as those roots go down, it's drawing up the resources, the nutrients, the water that it needs upwards. So imagine that you draw your awareness up to now the crown of the tree, to its canopy, to its leaves, to its sugar factory, to its leaves with that photosynthesis, making that abundant sugar, and sending those sugars back down into the roots. We're going to continue to work with this idea of rooting down and thinking about in that tree what moves down into the earth and then what rises up out of the earth. And so as we continue to work with that, I'm going to invite you to come to a mat and lay on your back. I'm going to transition back to my mat and find a way to come into tree pose. And so even if you can't see me, I know, Maggie, we have that bar at the bottom of the screen that might prohibit some folks from fully seeing what I'm doing on the mat. All right, super. We got that adjusted. Thank you. So I'm going to invite you to think about tree pose. So if we were standing, we'd have one leg straight. We'd have the other bent. So the sole of the foot will come somewhere on the straight leg. So I'm going to invite you to do that as you make your way onto your back. So onto your back, one sole of your foot along the inside of the straight leg. And coming into our first tree pose here. The hands can come maybe to the heart and to the belly or just out to the side. And then from this place of finding this gentle tree pose here, feel your back on the earth. And come back to that sense of that downward energy, like those sugars coming from the canopy down into the roots. Imagine your back body having those roots and helping you to ground down into the earth here. A real wide base, right? From the back of your head, down your back and your leg. Just take a few more breaths to notice yourself grounding maybe a little deeper as you exhale completely. Stay focused on completing your exhalation, drawing the energy out of the body, down into the earth. Take 2 more breaths in this way. Great job. Hopefully you're still with me to let that bent leg go straight. Take a moment to just feel what that feels like. Whatever side of your body you had bent, just give a little awareness to sensations that you may feel that might be counter to the straight leg. You might want to take your arms overhead, give yourself a nice full body stretch, and then as you exhale, maybe there's a little sound that comes out. We'll take the second leg and we'll bend it so that the sole of the foot is on that straight leg. You might think of this as a fallen tree, right? So unlike our tree that we'll do later, I promise, where we're standing tall, instead we're laying back. You might think about a tree that's laying in the forest. And those trees give so much life, even if they are no longer rooted in the ground. Perhaps they are uprooted, but as they begin to decompose, they give life. So let yourself here feel that. And then know, just by your simple presence here, you are giving life. You're giving life to these trees. So begin to feel the life-giving breath in. So feel yourself breathing in. Feel your front body begin to lift as you inhale. Keep that awareness to the inhalation, to the energy and the breath coming in, to the lifting up as we think about those waters coming from the roots all the way up to the canopy of the tree. See if you can fill up a little bit more with each inhale. 2 more breaths, noticing the inhalation fully and completely. Great work. Begin now to send that bent leg long. Take a moment to recognize and become aware of any sensations from what leg was just bent to which one was straight. And then when you're feeling it, take an inhale, reach those arms overhead. Maybe you want to thread the hands together or keep them shoulder distance. And expand now. Point your toes away. Point your fingers away. Really expand. Feel your torso, just like that trunk of the tree, expanding downwards and upwards. And then as you exhale, begin to hug the knees into the chest. Find a little rock from side to side. See if you can keep your shoulders planted as you begin to rock around. You can rock left to right. And for those that are feeling a little extra energetic, maybe you want to rock from head to tail. So take the path, the direction, the energy level that you'd like. Either roll onto your side and up to a seat, or from head to tail, rock to your seat. And then find yourself sitting any way that feels supportive. Legs can be crossed, legs can be straight out, perhaps legs are bent. And if you're in a chair, you can just find yourself sitting up tall. So lots of options here. And then as we start to center and come into a posture, it's like we're beginning to grow our tree, right? And so we have been reborn. And so begin to find a little bit of a circle, a little bit of rolling in place here. This is just a little bit of a hip movement, a hip opener. And finding some circles, maybe that inspiration. I have my wheel right here, right? Do you need to see that? See if you can make maybe not as big of a circle as this wheel, but find those circles rolling in one direction. And then find that circle rolling in the other direction. I can't see you all, but I'm sure you look amazing rolling in place right now. You can imagine if you were wanting to be in Colorado rolling with the tree fun, that you can imagine all those hills that we would be rolling up and down. And so when you're finished rolling, maybe find a little sway, front to back. Hands can come on your knees. Again, if you got your knees bent, you can cup your knees. They're straight. Go ahead and find a little bit of forward and back. And so we have this great opportunity to be in this place, rooted right where we are, able to imagine that we are somewhere else. Imagine that we are like those trees. Are a great inspiration for us. And so when you have completed some movements forward and back and circles, we're going to do the same now with the shoulders. So begin to roll the shoulders. Maybe there's a little circle, a little roll in the reverse direction and then the forward direction. So take it a couple times. See if maybe you can even slow it down, slow your roll. I know since we are not in Colorado, my cycling has been a little slower, which has been a very sweet treat. So taking this time to slow your roll. And then when you're finished completing those, go ahead and find some stillness in the shoulder. And now we're going to think about our nose, and we're going to think about creating like that circle of our wheel. Think about our wheel. Maybe some of you have some little kid bikes around, right? So your wheel is pretty small. So think about tracing whatever wheel you can think of. A little wheel, big wheels. And then go ahead and trace that wheel with the nose in the opposite direction. And maybe right before your wheel begins to grow. Kind of how I feel about trees. I have a couple that I've been taking care of and nursing in pots for the last couple of years, and it's just amazing to see how much they grow. All right, when you're done there, be done. Let the head be still. And now we're going to transition to coming to our hands and knees. And so as you come to your hands and knees, I invite you to spread the fingers so that you've got a little space, even space between all those fingers. And see if you can plant them right underneath the shoulders. And we're just going to take 2 rows of the hips in one direction and then in the other direction. If knees are extra sensitive, you can always roll over the mat if you're using a mat, or use a rolled up towel or blanket. And then when you come to neutral, I'm going to invite you to just send one leg back long behind you. Let the toes be on the ground, and then give a little press into the heel. So you're going to feel some sensations along that ankle, perhaps the calf, maybe in the knee. Be really kind to yourself here. So we don't need to hyperextend the knee. Maybe there's a soft bend in the knee. And then see if you can press the heel away and then come forward, just as we've done before, shifting in the forward and the reverse direction until we come right balanced in between and begin to extend that foot off the ground. See if you can lift it just so high that our hips still stay even. So rather than sending it up, see if you can be level with your hips. I like to think about riding with level pedals quite often. And so thinking about level hips here. All right, look down in between the thumbs. Are you ready to move on, right? Are you ready to do some more movement in place? If you'd like, extend the opposite hand out. Palm of the hand is directly in front of towards our face, thumbs up. And then feel yourself expand, expand, expand. As you inhale, feel that outward pool of energy. And then as you exhale, 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 elbow to knee. Let's do that a couple more times. Inhale, expand, expand, expand. Exhale, contract, empty out, empty out, empty out. Knee to elbow. Inhale, expand, expand. Exhale, hug it in. One more time. As you expand this time, hold. And then as you exhale and draw the elbow to the knee, see if you can hold. And then release back down, hands and knees. If you'd like to find those circles, or perhaps you just want to sit back a little bit, let the hips settle down towards the heels, let the hands come in front. Maybe the forehead finds the earth. And take a moment to feel the effects on that one side. When you're ready to come back up, join us in that table position, and we'll do that on the second side. So drawing back, one leg straight, one knee's bent. Find that little bit of pulsing through the heel, drawing back and forward into the toes. And then maybe you want to linger a little bit. Let that heel draw back. Maybe remember that little micro bend in the knee so we're not hyperextending. Let the gaze be right down in between the thumbs so that we've got a nice long spine. We don't want to have any cranky necks, even any more than maybe some of us already do. And then when you're ready to find that neutral between your pivoting forward and back to a lift, find that lift to level hips. When you're ready, and if you're feeling it, to find some more balance work here. Remember those trees for inspiration. How balanced are they? Rooted down, beginning to expand out. Feel yourself, two-directional pull here. So expand, expand, expand. When you're ready, elbow to knee. Empty it out. Inhale, expand. Empty, 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 elbow to knee. Find that again. Inhale, full breath in, expand, expand, expand. Exhale, empty, empty, empty. One more time. Pause on the inhalation. And then exhale, empty, and pause at the end of the exhalation. And then hands back down, knee back down. Maybe find a little rolling of the hips, or again, perhaps it's sitting back. Child's pose when we sit back towards the heel, or maybe we find puppy with our hips over our knees and those hands stretched long. All right, you can stay facing the same way you are. I'm going to turn so that you get a different view, because now we're going to come up to our knees, hands to our hips, and we're going to send one leg out. So if you notice our theme, we're finding that tree type pose in different ways. One leg straight, one leg bent. So this is called Gait Pose. And we're going to bring those hands to the hips and just take a notice that our knee and our heel might be aligned. And just noticing, right? We just want to notice where we are, honor where we are. If it feels okay that the toes are directly facing to me, to the screen, or if they're angled out slightly, just notice how your ankle is responding. Maybe play with moving it to see if you can feel your baby toe just as much as you feel your big toe. When you're ready, inhale, sweep the arms overhead. And we're going to extend down the long leg. Reach, reach, reach. See if you can keep that integrity just like a tree. So from your hips, like your root flare, down into the ground, root down. And then from your root flare, your hips, all the way up your trunk, out to your canopy. So what kind of tree would I be here? Right? You can add that in the comments. Take a moment to just envision that tree right now. 2 more breaths. On an inhale, bring both hands up. We're going to send one hand down, opposite hand down, right by that bent knee. And then take a moment to just see, is bottom hand and top hand creating a straight line? Maybe that feels good. Feel that rooted baby toe. Perhaps that straight leg wants to do a little lift. Remember, we're really working to strengthen from that center trunk. So belly button towards the spine as we really power up our core here and lift that straight leg, igniting your tree here, and then root down into the foot, reach up to the sky, hands back down to the hips. Great job. Take a moment to bring back in that straight leg. And if you like to find that child's pose or puppy pose, I invite you to find that for yourself before we set up on the second side. So it really helps for me to envision those trees, right? To imagine where I might be out in what landscape would my tree be in. Can't wait to see some of your comments of what trees you might be. So hands to those hips. When you're ready, reach the arms to the sky. Reach those branches up, reach those hearts up, shoulders down. Maybe the gaze is up. As you draw your hand down that straight leg, decide for yourself. Again, if your gaze is upwards, maybe it's looking at that armpit that's exposed. Maybe that's a node of growth, right? Where your branches are coming from. Maybe it's down to the toes, thinking about rooting into the ground. One more breath here. Strong core to come up. And then switch the hands. So hand comes down right by the knee. Take that gaze down. Look at fingertips on the ground and up to the sky. Decide for yourself where your gaze wants to be. And then if you want to find that lift, keep that belly engaged here to really find strength from your core. If you're shaken, embrace your shake. Feel yourself grow stronger as you inhale. And when you're ready to softly, slowly land down, exhale it out. Hands come to the hips. Whew, and then bring that knee back in. All right, so if you want that child's pose, that puppy pose, we're going to take a moment to just soak that in. Perhaps you're feeling some heat as I am and you want to soak up some water. And then we're going to find downward facing dog. So when we were in tabletop position, we had hands right underneath our shoulders. So I'm going to invite you to walk those hands like one more handprint forward, maybe even 1.5 handprints. You don't have to be exact, right? This is a mixture of art and science, as we do here in our practice, just as we know in being an arborist, as some of you are. There's definitely some science, there's a little bit of nature, and certainly some art in there. So when you are feeling ready, we're going to begin to lift the knees, and just lift the knees a little bit. Begin to straighten the arms and see if you can draw the head back towards the biceps. Keep both knees bent. Take a breath in. And then begin to straighten one leg, and just notice if a sigh out will help you ground down a little bit here. And then go ahead and bend that knee that was straight and straighten the other one. Bending both knees. If it feels right, then go ahead and straighten both legs. Find yourself shortening your stance if that would feel good, so that you feel grounded between your hands and your feet. Heels do not have to touch the ground. Let that head dangle between the biceps. And then take a moment to look up. Step one foot forward into a little step or a giant leap. And then the back foot forward. We're going to find a forward fold with a nice bend to our knees to be kind to our hamstrings. And then any amount that feels available, let your head dangle. You're going to see I'm going to grab a block. So you could grab onto something. If you're at a chair, you can have your hands on the seat of the chair. And then any amount, let the head dangle. And then just go ahead and shake the head out a little yes, a little no. Maybe roll it in that circle, that tire wheel. Find it in the other direction. And then remember to think like a tree here. So rooting down into the ground, root down, and then draw up. Draw up, draw up. Soak it up. Reach those hands to the sky. Exhale, hands to your heart. And then take a moment to come into mountain pose. Feel your shoulders over your hips. We've got our heart here, centered, feeling it centered right over the hips, and then the feet grounded right underneath. So from this mountain pose, we're going to move a little into our sun salutations just a little bit. I know I'm going to be getting ready to go roll onto my bike a little bit after this. And so honor where you are if you're getting ready to warm up for something, or maybe you're cooling down from just having been on a ride. So just honor that and go at a pace that works for you. We're going to go and look at the short side of our mat, or if you're not on a mat, that's fine. Just pick one direction that you can look at the camera. And then we're going to create some more heat, right? Who doesn't love that? I love the heat. Maybe you do. If you don't, take it easy. Maybe breathe out over your tongue if you're feeling really warm. So sticking the tongue out and just breathing in and out. Maybe the tongue's flat sticking out, or maybe it's rolled up like a straw, a wet noodle. Maybe the lips are closed. The tongue is right at the base of the top teeth. And easy with the breath, sweep the arms up to the sky. Exhale and fold, soft knees, bow down. Inhale halfway up, so hands can find the shins, the thighs, and then press a flat back here, so the hips press back and the crown of the head forward. And then exhale and fold. Hands come on the outside of the feet, so bend the knees a lot, and then send one leg back. Just notice what leg that is. So I'm going to draw back the left. Maybe you want to join me in that way. And then take the second foot, the front foot back. If you are feeling strong, press through the ground with your hands, knees lift, or if you want to take it easy, bring those knees down. From wherever you are, take a breath in, long spine, look down right between the thumbs, and then exhale, lower your knees if they're up, elbows to the sides of the body, lower. Inhale, lift that heart. Exhale, downward dog. So lift the knees. Maybe that bend stays in the knees. Take a look up. Step up the same foot that was just up. So my right foot's forward. Take a moment here to feel the space between your front foot and back foot, and then walk the back foot forward or send the back foot high and then have it meet the front. Hold down. Bend those knees. Rooting down into the earth, rise up. Take those arms, take those branches up to the sun. And then exhale the hands to the heart. Maybe take a moment to check in with yourself here. Feel yourself drawing in the energy, drawing in the breath. And then letting the breath out, letting the energy dissipate down into the earth. We have a second side to do. So if you were with me, that meant my right foot was forward in those lunges, and I'm going to switch. So I come back to finding my mountain, feeling myself centered. So if you feel yourself wobbling forward or back, see if you can find what is centered and balanced for you. And then inhale, reach those arms up. Maybe the gaze goes up. Exhale, soft knees, bow down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, and let those hands find the earth. Send back the other leg. So right foot back for me, maybe you too. And then see if you can find a one release or many steps till that other foot, that left foot for me, is back to the mat. Find an inhale, press through the earth, lift the spine, really strong neutral spine here. And then exhale, lower down to the ground. Inhale, draw up. This is called Cobra. Some of you might prefer a little bit bigger pose, but honor your true nature here. Lower, exhale, downward dog. Take a moment in that downward dog to linger a little before you look up and step up. Back foot, front foot, feel their placement. And then feel a lift of the back leg to meet the front. Hold it down, exhale, let the head dangle. And then rooting your feet, inhale, sweep it up. Sweep all that energy around you, just like that tree soaks it all up. Exhale, bring it right into your heart space with the hands. Just as those trees, find that heartwood, right? Connect here with your heart space. Maybe the hands come and just feel your heartbeat. Maybe it's a little more rapid than when we first started. Take a breath in and a breath out. Come back to that vision of your tree. Find that tree to give you the inspiration to stay rooted, to stay grounded, to weather the storm, to grow stronger. Each time there's a storm and a limb breaks off and it prunes itself, it gets stronger and stronger. And then from here, we'll find our tree pose, Rikshasana. So pick one leg that you feel that you want to start out rooting down into the ground. And think about that again from the root flare, right where the earth would be the first place you would see that tree. Think from there down what is unseen. Feel that support beneath you through those strong legs, those strong feet. So just take a moment to look at your feet. Make sure all of your toes are facing the same direction. Maybe they're hip distance. Maybe the feet draw together if that finds some more balance for you. And then begin to just sway to that leg that you're feeling particularly strong and stable on, and lift the heel of the other. Maybe bend that knee so you start to lift those toes off the ground. Maybe you come back down. Hands can be by the side or at the heart. And then if you'd like, you can turn that knee out to the side and find the sole of your foot onto your leg. Maybe it's at your ankle. Maybe it's at your calf. Maybe it's somewhere below the knee or above the knee. Finding something to look at. Maybe it's that tree object you have around you. Maybe it's an object on your screen. Feel yourself every time you exhale. Can you feel a little more grounded, strong, and stable? Each time you inhale, can you feel yourself grow and expand upwards and out? Maybe your branches go up and out. Maybe they go down. Maybe they wrap around. Take one more breath, feeling yourself ground on the exhale. Rise up on the inhale. And then when you're ready to come back down with both feet, just take a moment to notice in a place of stillness how different each leg feels. And if you need something to roll out, perhaps the ankle, you can take a moment to do that before we shift into our second side. And as we shift into the second side, just notice again, slow movements as we begin to peel up the heel, shifting the weight of the body. You can stay toes right on the ground. Knee can be facing the screen or maybe open it up. This becomes a hip opener. But this pose is really about a strong stabilizer, right? From the core, but also from the mind. So let the mind stay focused on one thing. Trees are a great example of staying rooted and focused and in that moment. They're not going anywhere, right? Except down and out and up in their spot, in their place on the earth. They are rooted in place. As you begin to find your place here, maybe your tree begins to grow. Each time you inhale, see if you want to explore moving the foot, maybe moving the arms. Take a few more breaths here, feeling yourself grounded on that exhale, rooting down. Inhale, expanding up. If you fall out of this pose, plant yourself back in it. And just like any tree, we start small and then we begin to grow inch by inch, breath by breath. When you are finished playing as a tree, come back down, both feet to the ground. Feel yourself back on the earth. Again, noticing if you need to roll out an ankle. Great job. So we're going to come now to finding ourselves in a triangle pose. So in triangle, I'm going to have you send one set of toes, doesn't matter which one, to one direction. And the other set of toes, we're going to send them in a 90 degrees. So for me, I'm sending one set of toes to the short side of my mat and the other set of toes towards the long side of my mat. And begin to bring those hands straight out. So find from fingertips to fingertips a straight line. How many of you have worked or seen a perfectly straight tree, right? Does it exist? Do they move and bend and shift? So shift forward over your front leg, the leg that's pointed for me to the short side of my mat, and then down. Bring the back of your hand to the inside calf, and then look down, straight from fingertips down to fingertips up. Perhaps it looks like that, but perhaps yours is going to look a little different, right? Depending on your shoulder. So honor your true tree nature. We look in the forest and we see every tree has its own unique shape, and we honor that, right? So honor your true shape here. Take another breath. 2 more just like that, looking down or looking up or somewhere in between. And then when you're ready to rise up, it's as if a friend is helping you upright yourself. Bring both hands to the hips, turn the toes, and then just take a moment to roll the heart up, look up. And then exhale, halfway fold. Hands can stay on the hips. Maybe you want to play with sending them out to the side or down to the earth or to a block. And then root into your feet. Inhale, come all the way back up. And then we're going to send the other toes to the short side of our mat here. Straighten that leg, straighten those arms. So see if you can find fingertips to fingertips straight, right? I also have to do this by playing with hands to my shoulders and then see if I can draw out to there. And then take a moment to look over that, what became now your straight leg, the one that's turned towards the short side of your mat, tip forward and down. See if we, again, can find that straight bottom arm, straight to the top arm. And then just honoring where you are, the way that your hips stack. So you may hear yoga teachers say that this is like 2 panes of glass that you're right in between. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be between 2 panes of glass. I had some shatter today, not fun. Maybe you're between 2 pieces of hardwood. Maybe it's some Meranti hardwood. And so just take a moment to see. Maybe your body goes in that shape, maybe it does not. So honor whatever shape it's in. Find 2 more breaths. Drawing up. Hands can come back to the hips. Toes all face now the long side of your mat. And just take those shoulders back, look up. Exhale, bow forward. Hands now are going to come down to the floor, to the earth. Bend the knees a lot. And then begin to sink the hips. And eventually, you're going to come to sit so that your legs are long out in front of you. You're feeling yourself roll around so that you can feel your sit bones. And then just take a moment to feel yourself now from hips to your heart to the top of your head. And then take your hands up to the sky, overhead. Take a look up. And then exhale, lead with your heart as you bow forward over your straight legs with a little bend in those knees. Maybe you want to sneak a cushion underneath those knees so that we keep a nice little bend to them. And then look up halfway. So bring your hands somewhere on the earth so you can just take a peek up. Take a smile at the screen. And then exhale, bow down over those straight legs. Let the heart lead here. So we're not arching the back. We're letting the heart space bow forward first. And then inhale again, look up. A little smile to the face. And then exhale, bow down. One more time, take a peek up. And bow down. And then inhale, draw both hands up, draw both knees up, and then hug and cup the knees, round chin to the chest. See if you can draw back a little bit more. And then inhale, upright yourself, straighten one leg, doesn't matter which one. And then take that bent knee down to the ground. Does this look familiar? Any pose this reminds you of? So again, another similar tree type pose. This is Rikshasana. And so one leg straight, one leg bent. Take those hands up to the sky. Same things as we did with both legs straight. Bow down. We'll move a little bit more here. So inhale, look up halfway. Exhale and bow. 2 more times with your breath. Riding that breath. rolling with it, or maybe you want to stay high or low, totally your choice. Roll any way that's right for you. And when you are complete, let it be. So you can let yourself roll on up. Straighten out both legs, give a little shake, a little movement side to side, and then switch. Plant the other sole of the foot in that long leg. Sweep those arms up to the sky. You know where we're going. Exhale, bow, heart leads the way. Find those little pulses halfway up on the breath with a little smile to the face, and bow down as you exhale. If you like that, keep moving with the breath. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, bow. Your choice, stay low or move and flow. And then when you are ready to rise up, send both legs long, give that little shake, a little massage down the legs. And then we're gonna bend both knees. I'm gonna turn sideways here. So you can see I'm gonna bend both knees. I'm gonna cut my knees and then just chin to the chest, roll back, and then roll up. If you like to play a little here, get a little more core work. Now, strong core, super good for getting a really good posture as we're cycling. Maybe you want to roll down halfway. Hands can release from the knees. Maybe feet lift off the ground. Find a boat pose here. And then maybe you come up a little higher and then halfway down. Play as you'd like. We're all eventually going to meet on our back. So allow yourself any slow rolls down, any bit of play that you'd like to do until eventually you are ready to slowly let yourself release full back body into the ground. And then hug the knees in, round up into a ball. This time, chin comes up to the knees, lift the shoulders, and then leave one leg bent, other leg straight. Relax the shoulders and switch legs. And then we're going to plant both feet down on the ground right below the knees. And then allow the hips to shift over to one direction. So press into the feet, move the hips to one side, and then let the knees fall to the side. Let the hips, so my hips are to the left, my knees come to the right. Hands directly out from your heart space. From your heart wood here, the center of all the love action, all the tree love. Take the gaze up or over and away from the knees. Find 2 more breaths in stillness. When you're ready, link your movement with your breath. Knees come up on the inhale. Even out the hips, and then send the hips to the other side. So my hips are moving to the right, my knees are moving to the left. Gaze can be straight up or out to the right. Feel the body, find a little stillness, but not completely. Feel the breath fill up and empty it out. 2 more times. Feel the breath, feel the flow of your energy. Feel yourself coming to a cool down. When you're ready, knees can come back up. And I just invite you to find some movement that's right and true for you as we begin to cool down, to take it into a few minutes of stillness of the body and maybe, just maybe, of the mind. So if there's anything that your body is asking for, I invite you to take that, honor that, and then we'll make our way into a few different options to come into a final pose of integration. As we talked about that wheel, all of the components of the wheel, all that makes it whole. As we talked about a tree, and all of the parts of the tree that we see and that are unseen, let yourself feel that within you. All your parts, all your layers, all that's seen and unseen, find it onto the earth. Maybe you're on your back with your legs straight or bent. Maybe you want to be sitting up. Find wherever you can feel your wholeness, your fullness. And then noticing our breath in this time. Maybe you take your awareness to that tree. I'm going to set a timer here for us so we can just be in this place. Maybe you're in a place of stillness of the body to settle on the earth, rooted. Maybe you're feeling like there's a breeze around you, within you. Just notice that. We're not trying to change who we are and what we are experiencing. We're just being a witness to it. Just as we see and feel those trees, let yourself see and feel your own true tree nature. As you let yourself soak in this experience, as you come to feel yourself on the earth, as you feel yourself expand, to grow, as you feel your body rolling in response to the breath. Maybe the mind is rolling. Observe. And as we soak in a few more minutes of letting this whole of our experience really come into our awareness. Perhaps you have a hand on the heart and the belly. Or maybe you connect the middle fingertip to the thumb, the mudra that is representative of love. And so as we connect here with our love of trees, I leave us with advice from a tree. Dear friend, stand tall and proud. Sink your roots deeply into the earth. Reflect the light of a greater source. Think long term. Go out on a limb. Remember your place among all living things. Embrace the joy of changing seasons. Look up at that moon that shines upon you. Seek nourishment from good things, the simple pleasures, earth, fresh air, and light. Be content with your natural beauty. Drink plenty of water. Be flexible. Remember your roots. So whether you are staying on your back and letting yourself soak in that advice from a tree, letting yourself be wherever this experience has taken you, or you want to gently roll to your seats and close this time together with me and Maggie and bringing your hands to your heart. Connecting, imagining that we're connecting to that heartwood of our favorite tree. May our experiences of rolling in place connect us with our mind, our body, and our planet. With much love and gratitude to each of you, all you amazing tree warriors and tree huggers. You can give yourself a big hug as I reach to you all in much love and gratitude. Namaste.
Thank you, Lisa. We'll see everybody next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.